And this is where I was born, 83 years next month. But Mom and Dad built this house, the original part of it. Mm-hmm. My son Steve and Veronica live there now. But Mom was hanging curtains on the day after Pearl Harbor Day. She heard about the Pearl Harbor on the radio while she was over hanging curtains. So that's when we moved into there in 41. Mm-hmm. But this is where my great-grandpa bought this place. And my dad grew up on this farm right here. And my dad, when he was 16, they laid a gas line from here to Clark, over in 83. He was 16, and they dug this line in by hand. See, there was a bunch of Berea wells in this area, a lot of wells in here, dozens and dozens of them.
What is a Berea well?
That is an 800 or 900 footer. Down here in the bottom, there was about 800 feet down to the Berea sand. And up on the hills, it'd be 900 feet. But he helped me that gas line. Now, we own this down here. Now, this was a Lauer place here.
Okay.
And my grandfather, Nick Lauer, bought this place in 1914, too. And here's where my mother was born. The line fence now starts down here at the road and goes up over the hill. That was the line fence. Everything on the other side, the 40 acres, Hollerbaums took care of. They bought that off of Grandpa. Grandpa thought he had enough land. And so what happened, this is the floodplain here, and we get pretty decent floods in here once in a while. It gets pretty hairy. We have one of them big 10-inch rains or 8-inch rains or something like that. But Grandpa and Hollerbaums agreed that they would divide the line fence on that down to the creek. But probably with a handshake, they agreed that if this portion of the line fence went out, they would put it in together. And they probably done this with a handshake. There was nothing was written up, and it's still in existence today. Only thing, the Hollerbaums are gone, but we assume that whoever's on the other side, that they want to help. They can. If not, we'll put it up. But that was the way this stuff started years ago. So there was no ponds here. This was just a pasture field and a farm field up on the hill. But then we got Joe Erb. He was a wonderful contractor, and Joe is 92 or something like that today, but he bulldozed up until he was almost 90. And he started the Holmes Wayne. He worked with Manuel Mullet in the Holmes Wayne coal company, and Joe was the first one that started reclaiming this bulldozing, reclaiming these mines. And as you go over the country, you see ponds that are full of weeds and algae and stuff like that. We promote the triploid white amber, the grass carp, the fish that eats vegetation. That's why these ponds look like that. The brownness is zooplankton and phytoplankton. And this is microscopic bacteria. Mm-hmm. And a good lake that's productive, you want phytoplankton and you want crustaceans and stuff like that. And you're supposed to be able to stick your hand and the arm in the water. And if you get it up to your elbow, you shouldn't hardly be able to see the tip of your fingers. That's what the color you want. Mm-hmm. Now, if you have a pond that's so clear that you can see down 4 or 5 feet, it's pretty, it's nice to swim in, but it's not as productive to grow fish. Your microorganisms is the bottom of your food chain. This is a farm we bought when I got out of the Army. I was under maintainer for the township. And I saw this grown up mess of farm here, 160 some acres. And I told Janet about it. She said, let's buy it. This surprised me. She's so tight, I can't believe it. She said, let's buy it. So we bought it. And we built all of these lakes. And this is the one that Arnold Schindler said will not work. You can't build ponds there. Now, I want to tell you something else. I sold the water in that lower lake.
How'd you do that?
I sold it. They're going to drill a shale well over here about 2 miles away. And they're going to lay a plastic line over here.
So they're going to get to the water?
Yeah, there won't be trucks driving in here tearing up the roads and stuff. They're going to pipe this water from here over to that shale well. Or it's going to be drilled next spring. And so it's 3 million gallons. And their engineers have looked at this and they said they don't think it'll take that. It's a lower lake. We can walk down here and you can see it. Don't fall into the sand there. But he said the engineers have calibrated. They said it'll only take it down 4 feet. But they're going to do it next spring when we have a lot of water. It probably won't even go down any.
Where does the water come from for these lakes?
We have springs. And you know, when we bought this farm, Tom Bickle was showing me around. And he said it's a good farm, but it doesn't much. He said it doesn't have much water. So when we corralled all this water, the springs and stuff are a little bit better because we've